All right, let's talk about getting ready for retirement. It's a big deal in a year, but 2026 is shaping up to have its own unique mix of challenges and, believe it or not, opportunities. We're going to dive into the really critical financial changes you need to know to make sure your future is secure.
It's the big question, right? With the economy kind of slowing down, maybe you've heard whispers of a recession. It's totally natural to look at your retirement plan and just wonder, is this thing really ready for what's coming down the pike?
So the landscape for 2026 really boils down to three things: costs that just keep going up, some brand new rules for retirement, and, yeah, a general feeling of economic uncertainty. But here's the key. Just getting a handle on these things, that's the first and most important step you can take to building a plan that actually works. Okay, let's get right into the numbers that hit your wallet directly. We're talking about your income versus your costs, the real story. And we'll start with what, at first glance, seems like pretty good news. So here it is, 2.8%. That's the official 2026 cost of living adjustment, the COLA for Social Security. And on paper, that's supposed to help your benefits keep pace with inflation. But, and this is a big but, it is only half the story. Because here's the other number you need to know, 9.7%. That, folks, is the increase for the standard Medicare Part B premium. You don't need a calculator to see that this number is a lot bigger than that little bump in your income. And when you put them side by side like this, it just becomes painfully clear, doesn't it? That 2.8% benefit increase, well, it doesn't come close to telling the whole story of what's actually happening with your money. Yeah, this really shows you the painful math behind it all. See, that higher Medicare premium gets taken right out of your Social Security check before you even see it. So for a lot of people, that so-called raise shrinks down to almost nothing. And if you're a higher earner, wow, it can feel like it just vanishes into thin air. So you might be asking, why is there such a huge gap? Well, this chart here tells the story. The formula the government uses to figure out the COLA is based on how younger, urban workers spend their money. But retirees, we have totally different budgets. A way bigger piece of our pie goes to housing and medical care. And guess what? Those are the two areas where prices are climbing the fastest. The official formula just isn't keeping up with reality for seniors. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom about rising costs. There's some good news here, too. The government has rolled out a new rulebook for retirement. It's called the Secure 2.0 Act. And there are some really powerful new tools in there that you can actually use to your advantage. Now, this is a big one. Check this out. It's called the Super Catch-Up Contribution. If you're in that sweet spot between 60 and 63 years old, you can now put an extra $11,250 into your workplace retirement plan. I mean, that is a huge opportunity to turbocharge your savings in those last few years before you retire. Now, there's a little twist here, especially for high earners. If you made over $150,000 last year, any of those catch-up contributions you make must go into a Roth account. So what does that mean? Well, you don't get the tax deduction today, but the flip side is massive. All that money and all the growth on it can be withdrawn completely tax-free in retirement. That's a real game changer. They also changed the rules on when you have to start taking money out of your retirement accounts, your required minimum distributions, or RMDs. As you can see, that starting age has been pushed back, which is great news. It just gives your investments more time to sit there and grow in a tax-deferred environment. And for anyone who likes to give to charity, listen up, because this is a really big deal. The limit for what's called a qualified charitable distribution, or QCD, has been bumped up to $111,000. This is an amazing tool. You can send money straight from your IRA to a charity, which can take care of your RMD for the year, and that money isn't counted as taxable income. It's a total win-win. Okay, so we've got a handle on the new landscape, the costs, the rules. The question now is, what do you do about it? Let's walk through a strategic game plan with 3 key areas to focus on. Think of your financial strategy in 3 simple parts. It's all about securing your short-term needs with what we call liquidity, playing the long game with a smart tax strategy, and of course, preparing for the unavoidable costs of healthcare. So, step 1, liquidity. The core idea here is to build a financial moat around your long-term investments. That means setting aside 3 to 5 years of your living expenses in really stable stuff, like cash and bonds. This creates a buffer, so you're never, ever forced to sell your stocks during a market downturn just to pay the bills. Number 2 is being smart about your taxes. This spending waterfall is a great way to think about it. It's all about strategically choosing which account to pull from each year: your taxable brokerage, your tax-deferred IRA, or your tax-free Roth. By planning that out, you can actively manage your income and potentially lower your lifetime tax bill by a whole lot. And third, let's talk healthcare. It's so important to get this breakdown. About 70% of your costs, those will be your predictable premiums. But it's that other 30%, the out-of-pocket expenses for things like dental, vision, and prescriptions, that can be a real wild card. These costs are unpredictable, they tend to rise as you get older, and you absolutely need a plan for them. All right, so we've covered the income squeeze, we've gone through the new SEC 2.0 rulebook, and we've laid out a 3-part strategic plan to put you back in control of your financial future. So what are your action items? It really boils down to this checklist. First, calculate the real net impact of the Social Security COLA on your actual budget. Second, review how these new Secure 2.0 rules specifically affect your savings and your withdrawal plans. And third, start building out that 3-part strategy: liquidity, tax efficiency, and healthcare. At the end of the day, understanding all of this is just the first step. The real goal is to turn this knowledge into action. Your retirement plan isn't a document you create once and then forget about. It's a living roadmap that has to adapt. The financial world is going to keep changing. So the most important question is, what's your next move to make sure your plan is ready for 2026 and for all the years beyond?